Hello, in this video we're going to continue with our sculpt in Zbrush. So I've gotten to the point where I should probably subdivide this so that I have more geometry. And the cool thing about Zbrush, it can handle a crazy amount of geometry. And that's one of the reasons why Zbrush became a popular program. And the brushes do a good job of creating crisp detail. So to add a subdivision, you hit divide. And that will divide it. You'll see it's a little bit smoother. And you can do this by hitting Control D for a hotkey. Shift, and you can do details. So like I can put in more of a cavity here, put in more of a laugh line kind of stuff. And I'm holding down Shift to smooth out my stuff, that kind of laying in the volumes and then smoothing out different areas, this, like that. And the cool thing about this is I can easily go back to this if I want to. I can go back my two different subdivisions easily. I'm going to hit Control D again, and I can do more stuff here. I can even go and put more details, so I can use another brush I use quite a bit is Dam Standard. So I can use that to get the shape of the nose here. So something like that I could do. And this smooth out the areas that are too much, or like I need more of a crisp edge there. I can use that. So this will push in instead of push out. And I'm holding down Shift to smooth it out. So something like this. Then I can go up even more. And I can add more details. So I'm constantly building up the volume, and then I'm erasing it where it's too much by smoothing it out. And then I'm also going to my move brushes and changing the silhouettes, stuff like this. So I'm just like, okay, yeah. And it's a good idea to have reference, and I'll go over that in another video, a tool that I use for reference. So that's a good kind of base head. It's a little weird on the top there, but back to my here, just change this so it's a little more square, not so much slope. There we go. Something like this. And then I can go over to actually let's add a eyeball. So the best way to add an eye is to add an eyeball first and then sculpt around that. I found that to be the easiest. So to do that, we go over to Subtool, and this this is the list of all your different pieces of your geometry. So Zbrush likes to call your sculpts tools, and then there's pieces which are subtools. And even the saving, I prefer to save as a ZTL, and that's probably the most stable version, is to save as and save as a ZTL, as a ZTL format, and save it, and then you load the tool. So they call these tools, which can be a bit confusing, but that's the way that Zbrush has done it. So to add another piece of geometry in here, you just go over to Append, and then I'm going to bring in a sphere. And right now I am highlighting my head. It's a little bit brighter value. You can click on here, and that will be the lighter value is what's selected. You can move and scale this. So I can scale this down and move it into place like this. I'm just going to position it to be about, and it might be a good idea to see what this looks like transparent. So you can click on this, and then I can see how that's looking, if it's centered about where I want it. Maybe it's too big. Something like this, and I can pull it forward if I want. Yeah. Something like this. And then what I would do is mirror this. So I'm going to go to Draw, and I'm going to go down to Geometry, and then you have to click on Modify Topology, and in here is Mirror and Weld. And that will mirror the sphere exactly to the other side. So now, say this is not correct, I can go to my Move tool. If you just move it without mirroring, it moves together like that. I'm going to hit X to mirror it so it moves towards the center. Yeah, something like this. And you can even scale them again. Something like this. Okay. Move it up a bit. There we go. So getting this right is a little bit tricky sometimes. Okay. Then I would just go over here and switch back to your head. You can always hit Alt. I need to go to Draw. Alt. We'll click on the subtool. Alt and click. So I can go back to the eyes that way and Alt that way. Yeah, so now we have the eyes in there. Now I would go back to my clay tubes and start sculpting in the eyelid. So I'm going to change my size. And this can be tricky. So I'm going to sculpt in a bit like here and a little bit here. And then I'm going to just go like this. Trying to build up that edge like this. Then I am sculpting in like this. Oops. There we go. And start sculpting away a bit, sculpting in. So I get it like a basic kind of shape, and then I can smooth things out by holding down Shift. This. And then I use I'll probably subdivide this since I don't have enough geometry. I'm going to hit Control D. And I use Dam Standard quite a bit to get these kind of details. So I'll get closer. And then I can hit Control and make this a little bit bigger. Control, and it will do the other way. So getting that right size is a bit tricky. Maybe the intensity needs to go down. So you see how it crisps the edge, and then the same thing over here. And then I'll push in there. And it's gonna look bad until there's a moment where it all of a sudden will look good. But you gotta be okay with the bad to get there. Okay. Clay tubes. So the intensity on that is really strong. And just go like that, bring that up. And I'm smoothing, adding volume. So that might be too much, so I'm going to add some volume here. Usually this is like almost like a triangle wedge, like this. And build some volume here. smooth it out a bit. And yeah, that's generally how I do it. And then I'll use the move tool to fix this. So maybe the ridge is a little too much eyelid. So I'll pull that in. Same thing on the corner there is a bit much. I'll try to make that a bit more even, like that. And there you go. Got an eye. And it's looking a little weird, so sometimes just doing some shape changes here. So bringing this down. Maybe that was too much. Bring that up like that. Seeing. So you can do stuff like this. And then using the damn standard, oops, to do things like, oops, that would happen like right here. Just fade out things like this, and then you can do crow's feet. Yeah, damn standard's an awesome brush. So, and then look at reference also to see how these things are kind of built up. Yeah, that's how I would do an eye. See you in the next video.